Welcome back to the JJ Redick podcast. Really excited to be back on the air. I apologize for the break between the holidays and a couple guests that we had to reschedule. This was the newest episode that I could do. For everybody's information, this week's guest, Kyrie Irving, and I recorded this podcast at about 1 a.m. local time here in London, right after the Celtics and 76ers game that we just played. Kyrie was gracious enough to give me some time. I just wanted to, first of all, just thank everyone for listening and for the support so far. We've got a great list of guests lined up for the early part of 2018. Seth Meyers is going to be on the podcast soon. Next week's guest is Thierry Henry, who I recorded here in London. We got Spike Lee on the docket. I'm really excited about all of them. And I would just encourage all of you, if you like the podcast and you listen to the podcast, tell a friend, give it a rating and a review on the Apple Podcast app. And obviously, if you're on Twitter, I pretty much only use Twitter for the podcast. So give me your thoughts, anything you would like to hear on the podcast, any inside information or guests that you'd like me to talk to. Without further ado, I just want to get to this conversation that Kyrie and I just had. It's pretty great. So enjoy. Now you know what we're talking about.
Conspiracy theories. Oh my goodness.
Is the flat Earth
thing
is
real?
that is that a conspiracy or is that just an opinion?
No, when I actually said it though, like I had been watching a whole bunch of Instagram videos. Meaning like I had the specific pages on Instagram that were like the truth given to you and videos like this is the flat Earth and the horizon evens out only on a flat Earth. And I was just like, I didn't do as much research as I had, in order to say something like that, because I was just ready to just blur it out like flat Earth, man, it's conspiracy theory. They want to get us. And, when you start thinking about it, it's just like the actual intent behind it was just like, do your own research. You know what I mean? Like, and that's it. Like a lot of the things that were just told to me, I was just like, oh, okay.
When you backed it up and said like, all right, do your own research. I like immediately thought of like just questioning authority, what I mean? Like, figure out things for yourself a little bit.
That's all.
But like, what is on your Explore page that you are coming across these videos about flat Earth? Do you follow like conspiracy theory pages on IG?
But the thing about it, JJ, like I don't even follow. I can't even call them conspiracy theories. You know what I mean? Because some of the things of just logic and common knowledge are just there. And then they'll actually, like some of the pages that I follow, they'll actually list some of the laws and some of the things that have transpired throughout history. And they'll just give it to you like as almost like a history channel, which of other things that aren't like on History Channel or just specific details that I felt like I was missing in life, They'll give you stuff on the government, like geoengineering and chemtrails and everything else. And it's just like, it just makes you think. And that was the beautiful thing about it is that it actually made me think, made me think twice about shit.
I feel like once a month I go on these weird deep dives on the internet, and they always start with like the top 10 conspiracy theories, and then it just takes me down these weird paths.
Yeah.
Have you seen Loose Change? Mm-mm. Okay, it's like an hour-long documentary on 9/11.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's certainly like thought-provoking. I don't necessarily think 9/11 was an inside job, but there's some things that, I question. But I question a lot of things. I think that's good to question a lot of things. For sure. I'm going to give you the one thing I question in life that's like similar to like flat Earth, okay? And I'm wrong on this. I know I'm wrong on this, but I'm not entirely convinced that dinosaurs existed. I'm not. So I've come across some weird websites in my Google searches.
Yeah.
For example, the word dinosaur, it didn't exist till like 1842. There was no word for dinosaur, okay? And then all of a sudden, in the next 15 to 20 years, after this British scientist comes up with this word dinosaur and describes it in a medical journal, people start finding fossils.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, all right, humans like Homo sapiens, right? We've been here since like 10,000 BC. We've been roaming the earth. We've had multiple empires all over the world, North America, Central America, Asia, Europe, Africa, whatever. And in all that time, we didn't find any fossils till 150 years ago. It makes you think.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. I'm with you on that. Like people think it's like an idea. And when you actually follow that idea and back it up with research of your own, then you're like, you almost like are convincing yourself, like, this didn't happen. You know what I mean?
I've almost convinced myself.
No,
I'm so
but
close.
I'm saying no, but
I'm so close.
But it's just you get to that point, and then the flip side of it is the separation that is created from you to other people who think different things. Like when scientists, and then they'll come out, JJ, you probably say something, and then like everyone will just like tirade you and just like, how could JJ not believe that dinosaurs are real or existed? And then automatically you're put in like this other society, like JJ's a conspiracy theorist. Like he's like, you think this, you think no, and that was like the biggest thing for me. I was just
took a lot of heat.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about the dinosaur thing that just I got to do a little more research on this little fact. But I went to the Natural History Museum this summer with my 3-year-old son, and he like we would love the dinosaur exhibit. Like it was awesome. And like for some reason, like I left there and I remember reading or someone telling me there that there's never actually been a complete dinosaur fossil found.
Like 80% or 70%.
They're recreating all of it. So how do they know what it would look like?
That's what I'm saying. Guess. It's just a shot in the dark. Hey, I don't know. And that's the thing about it is that we don't know.
Do you have any other conspiracy theories that you want?
Man,
you're probably a little more tight-lipped about this now, huh?
No, I'm not tight-lipped about it. It's just that for me, it's a lonely road sometimes. But it's always given with support from the people that I actually try to get this knowledge from and converse with. So I don't just limit myself to being in the circle of like, this is what you believe in flat earth and this is what you believe dinosaurs exist. Like I'll actually go and try to do the research on the scientific side.
Right.
And figure that out and just do comparisons. That's it. I wasn't trying to convince everybody the world is flat. You know, and that's what everyone took it as, which is fine. And whatever.
Is it curiosity? Is it curiosity?
Yeah.
Is
Curiosity
that what's
killed the
driving
cat.
it? Is that what I'm saying? Is that what's driving it? Like, is that just like, I just want to know something about something? I want to know more about something?
I just want it to be just done with. Like, just give me the truth. And then, like, on a lot of these things, and we could just be done with it. Like, humans could just move on, and there wouldn't be a conspiracy behind it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just different things. And I know you saw, like, loose change, but it's just some of the things that happened before that crazy attack, like, it just was, you know what I mean? You think back on history, and I'm just like, man, and they've gotten it to the point, and and of course people are like, who's they? But like, you know, everyone is they. Like everyone that basically is controlling us. Like, so
I'm going to move on to a different topic. I did read this article this morning in Time about why people believe in conspiracy theories. Part of it is just like control, like things are out of their control. So they want to like, especially like with political conspiracy theories, like the losing side will look for sort of a reason why they lost. We didn't lose fair and square. There's got to be a reason. And I'm fairly liberal and I didn't vote for Trump, but like there's an argument to be made that that's what the Democrats are doing now with this Russian collusion thing, of course, but there was collusion. For sure.
Man,
sure.
And you know, for me, you know, what's the difference between all that is that they always say like truth is in plain sight purposely though. Have you seen the new Taco Bell commercial?
Yeah, they're taunting us.
You know what I mean?
The Illuminati are taunting us.
Like, and the thing about it is that people are taught and controlled to be afraid of that, like not knowing what the all-seeing eye actually means and where it comes from historically. But yet it's given to people to be scared of. And who knows? You know, I don't want to dive deep into it. But it's just, you know, it's part of my life. I've been seeing all-seeing eye for about 6 months now. Like all the time now. People have naturally just been afraid of it. They don't know what it means.
What does it mean?
Well, man, we've
already started down this road.
Yeah, no, we already have. And for me, spiritual alchemy is something that I'm huge in. I don't even want to say huge in, it's something that I'm just so much more aware of. And, you know, the 7 chakras, they said we have 8. And your third eye being in the middle of your forehead and awakening that. And I felt like ever since I took meditation to another level and figuring out the research behind that and figuring out how knowledgeable I can become and being just enriched in that and enriching my soul rather than realizing that this physical realm that I live in and I exist in is the only thing that's available to me, you know, and it connected me more to Nikola Tesla. And then I started taking, you know, just specific individuals throughout history that have been telling us things that just either they perished before their time or they were supposedly taken out, or something that they said that was just so thought-provoking that they went from a genius to being a crazy person. And then like society just exits them like, no, we don't want to believe anything you say anymore and you're a crazy man. Like, did you see what Jim Carrey did? Like, Jim Carrey came out of nowhere. It was just like, I was in solitude and, you know, I'm it now, you know, like, okay, Jim, like, then people were like, yo, what's going on with Jim Carrey? And then I'm just saying though, like, he came out of nowhere with it. And it made sense though. But for everyone else, they were like, who, like, I'm not Jim Carrey.
Don't you think part of it though is like when people just like, they feel uncomfortable and they're like, all right, we need to get this guy out of here. Mm-hmm. Like, let's stop interviewing him. Yeah. Please. He's crazy.
Yeah, he was like,
I get labeled.
When he was on that red carpet, I don't know if you saw that interview. He was like, I want to come to the most meaningless thing ever. And just come. Like, I just wanted to be here and just show you how meaningless it is. Like, you know what I mean? And he gets on the red carpet and then you have to compare that with someone who's there to get their first award. And yet they've been introduced to this industry, have no idea about the ins and outs. And you have Jim Carrey, like a seasoned vet in this industry, knows the ins and outs, can't necessarily speak on all the truths behind it, but knows exactly how to succeed in it. And it's just like, that's the difference. That's the comparison. You know?
I don't even know where to go from here. So we're in London, right? We're in London right now. Just got done playing you guys. My first observation from the game, actually, it started this morning at shoot around. You guys did not do shoot around, right?
No.
Okay, so this morning we came out for shoot around, and the one rim was so fucking crooked.
Which one?
The one you guys shot at in the first half, and the one we shot at in the second half. Would you agree with me?
I would agree a little bit.
Okay,
a little bit.
I was like adamant this morning that we had to figure out a way wherever the bench was, like that we would shoot at that in the first half, so we could have the good rim in the second half. And yeah, I guess because you guys were the bench team, you got to choose. So I'm gonna put a little asterisk. A little asterisk.
You guys in a week, though.
We'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out. I'll put a little asterisk.
The rims won't be crooked.
How has this experience been? You've obviously played here in the Olympics. You've been overseas to play both in World Championships. Have you done it with the NBA before? Or is this your first time? Did you do it with the Cavs?
Of what?
Like playing in the global games, preseason, anything?
Preseason, we played in Brazil, but I didn't play though. It was preseason though.
Did you have any free time at all? Because I had none.
None. I expected that.
Yeah.
I expected no free time.
I don't have a multi-million-dollar Nike deal, so I'm not required to do appearances for them. So I can't imagine what was on your docket the last 3 days.
I had a commercial shoot, like quick one, and then I did like a media event at the London Festival Hall where the London Philharmonic plays. So I did a couple interviews on there, and it was ridiculous. That hall is like, woo, some history has happened in there, man. And I love music so much, so it was like being in there, it was pretty legendary.
The only thing we got to do was last night we did a little team event at Kensington Palace, which I have not taken the deep dive yet, so I don't know a ton about it. But I do know that George III, the king, lived there when we took America from him, when we said, America's ours. Like, the Revolutionary War. Okay. That's like, the king was living in this palace. And I guess Princess Diana was there too. That's about the only London that I got to experience the last 3 days. We didn't do it.
The big Ferris wheel. That's all in all the movies. That's always cool.
I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I saw it driving
from a bus.
By. Yeah, I saw it driving by. That was the greatest thing ever.
So you and I, we've known each other for a while because of our connection at Duke. Although we had a very different experience at Duke.
Very different.
I was there 4 years. You played 11 games.
Yeah.
11. But a lot of people don't know this, and I'm not sure if we're going to get in trouble for talking about this, but we are linked by a common thing at Duke, in that you and I are both members of the last standing secret society at Duke.
Yep.
We both are. Let me ask you a question. Who is your favorite Laker of all time?
That right there is one of the easiest questions ever. You know, it's just so simple. There are so many great Lakers, but there's one specific one that just gets the bite like the wine in that cup.
Kurt Rambis?
No. That's a good one though. But man, something about number 42.
Number 4, James Worthy.
James Worthy, man.
Yeah.
Just gives me just a bite of the nose every time.
We can't really talk about this, but I will just say to you, speak to no one.
No one at all. No one.
All right, so I went to a practice. I went to a practice like right before you got there. I think it was like when G was there, when Gerald Henderson was there.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably like 2009 or 2010. Yeah, it was 2009 for All-Star break. I went with my wife because I wanted to show her Duke. And I couldn't believe how soft he was in practice. Coach.
Yeah.
And I feel like the USA experience mellowed him out so much.
Yeah.
To the point now where I've heard that they don't even really practice. They just basically do NBA practices.
Yeah.
Skill work, weight room, do your stretches, that sort of thing. What was your experience with him? At Duke, not with
no.
basketball.
But the thing about it,
saw him both
yeah, but it was a learning experience still though with Coach, because he was trying to give me freedom while still having Nolan and Kyle be the senior leaders, which they were. But when I came in, it was like, I hate to refer to myself as this, but it was like a highly touted high school, phenom sort of say. And, I was top in the country, and there was talks about Coach wasn't getting the top recruits in the country. And he went after John the year before, and then Kentucky came in, and I had Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Duke on my list. And it was an easy choice to go to Duke. But Coach was he was on me, but then he gave me a sense of freedom. So he'd be like, Kyrie, you got to do this, this, this. And, he would say it with conviction. And other times he would put his arm around me and be like, okay, I understand you're a freshman, but these are things you have to do and learn and get better. And it was just in the beginning, when he got back from USA that year, he ran the shit out of us, ran us to the ground. I was so out of shape. Coach Will had me on the freaking muscle milk. I was 20 pounds overweight. You're on the muscle milk diet.
Freshman 15.
And obviously Shooters was involved as well. So it's always a great thing.
For the listeners out there, Shooters is a local bar. I would describe it as a local bar in Durham. It's a country western bar.
Yep.
And it's frequented.
But if you tip the DJ.
It's frequented by both locals.
On Fridays.
On an interesting set of locals and Duke undergrads.
And Coach ran me, and he was pretty chill. And then once I got hurt, then I kind of had to sit on the side.
I feel like he fought the one and done thing though, a little bit, because when I was there, we had Lou, and he wanted Lou to come back, and Lou obviously left. I think he was top 5 pick or whatever he was, and then it was okay, we're gonna do a Kyrie every year, or we're gonna do a Jabari every year. And then after 15, that was supposed to be just maybe one of those guys leave, and Ja left, Tyus left, Justice left.
Yeah.
And then since then, I feel like it's just we just get all one and done guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
top in the country though.
We have a great recruiting class every year, but that's why I think you see this inconsistency that
oh yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
Who do we lost somebody the other day? NC State? Right?
Yeah, at home, and they rushed the court.
So I can't remember. I was somewhere the next day, and everyone, how it is. If Duke loses, everyone just talks shit to you.
Mm-hmm. Everyone loves to talk shit like that. I saw your boys lost last night. It's just, bro, is your school even, where's your school at? Come on, man, give it a break. So that process is something that's developed over time, and Coach has adapted as best he can while trying to maximize their potential in the time that they're there. It's a crazy window in college basketball now.
Coach's greatest strength is his adaptability.
Oh, for sure. On the fly, though.
He figures it out every year.
So I have this theory about NBA players, good NBA players. I'm not talking marginal, fringe guys, but good NBA players, we all kind of have superpowers, I think that NBA Live or 2K had that one year where you had a token next to your icon or whatever whenever you.
And that was a specific thing,
a specific skill
high
set.
flyer. Yeah, I remember that.
You could make an argument that I have one superpower, and that would be shooting, right? That would be it, baby. You could make that argument. Yeah. I'm not saying it's true.
Stamina too.
Okay. Thank you, man.
No,
my man. I didn't even want to give myself credit for two.
But I actually you run all the time.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a lot
all the time.
It's a lot of work.
You work on it though.
I do, man.
Yeah, you work on it. You take it very serious.
I do.
Yeah.
But like you're I'm jealous of you because you have multiple superpowers. And I was thinking about this the other day about another player. And then I was trying to figure out all right, who has 3? Like which guys in the league have 3? And you have 3. You're a motherfucker shooting the ball. I think, and most people think, and you'll probably say the same thing, you're the best finisher for an under the rim guard player in the league, maybe ever.
I appreciate it.
And then your handle, your dribbling skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody asked me the other day, they said, if you could take one superpower from any player, what would it be? And I said, Kyrie's handle.
Yeah, I knew it.
because you have that superpower, Tommy and I were talking about earlier, because you have that superpower, you're never not in control. Because in the back of your mind, whether it's in the forefront of your mind or the back of your mind, you can bring that out at any time and get wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
When I was younger, I always believed that there was a sense of completeness that I wanted to have on the basketball floor. And I always wanted to be my dad's house, 6'4". I always wanted to I was like, Dad, if I grow to 6'4", I'll be unstoppable. And what that did was it enabled me to find a happy medium between a 2 guard and a 1. Because my dad was a 2, but my Uncle Rod was a 1, and some of my favorite players were 1s. And then I also had Kobe, who was my favorite player. So I had a happy medium of I have to be able to shoot, I have to be able to handle, and then I have to be able to have a sense of just randomness, of being in control, but seeming out of control, to be able to kind of succeed past some of my opponents. I had to be unpredictable. I wasn't the quickest, I wasn't the most athletic, wasn't able to kind of finish over the rim, so I had to figure out things, how to get around the floor while still being effective in small spaces, as well as seeing the court from a wide perspective. So my handle, everyone always said, what did you do for your handle? I didn't sit there with 2 balls. I didn't sit there with tennis balls, throw them in the air and throw them out. I didn't do the whole reactionary testing. All I did was I took specific moves and I added combination after combination after combination to be prepared for any situation that I was going to be thrown in. So if I was going against, Ben was going against me tonight, and I have the long, lengthy defenders, I'll get some 6'6" and above guys that guard me. And then, so for that, I had to use my hand to create space. Then I'll get some smaller guys that'll try to get underneath me, like TJ, who will pick me up full court. And he picked me up full court tonight. And I was just like, come on, man. I'm zooming past. And I'm giving you a change of speed, and then I'm gonna kind of keep you off balance. So I felt like I just need to have that completeness and having a tight handle.
Yeah. So I guess the thing is, though, you work on those combos. It's sort of like martial arts, counter after counter after counter. But I do that shit too in the summer. A lot of players do that.
Yeah.
So I'm what is the next thing? Because Undefeated did an article, Mark Spears did an article about you and your handle and your work with, I think it's Phil Handy, right?
Yeah.
Before every game, you do it, obviously. But you've had this handle since you were in high school, I assume, right? That's what you've been known for. So is it the mind-body connection? I think you're super low, with your dribble. You're lower than even I think about CP, Steph, Jamal. I'm gonna miss somebody that's also has a great handle, but those guys, the ball's on a string, but it's a higher string. Their yo-yo is less compact.
Yeah, and that right there is still tough to guard. But when I was introduced to Phil, now it was having the transition from being a great handler and being able to finish to being a great handler and being able to shoot, finish, pass. And that was the evolution of me being with Coach Handy. I call him my OG. He was helping me tighten up my game to be able to be effective all the time, rather than just having a crossover that looked really pretty, but not being able to cross over in this one particular move and not be able to shoot, dribble, or pass. So I was working on combinations when I was a kid, but I felt like my package was it was a lot slimmer. And then when I started working with Coach Handy, it grew and grew, because now I was able to work on the combinations and now get a shot off and now be able to pass and now be able to continue my dribble. So it was we were consistently working on it. And Al was there. My best friend was there when we worked out in Australia. And the first couple things that we were doing, I was like, what the hell are we doing? It was between, behind, shot. When I worked out, it was between, okay, now you get to your jump shot. He was like between, behind, in and out, layup. And I'm just like, okay, again. And then I was over there like on my knees like, you want me to do all these moves? And we just built consistency over time. And then it got to the point where I felt so comfortable. Now we worked from in to out, being able to do it from mid-range and do it from long range. So being able to shoot off the dribble and keep people off balance. Oh, by the way, you have to have, and Melo always says this, you got to be able to have the newts, like the newts. You got to have the newts to do it.
That was my next question.
Yeah, you got but I grew up around.
Okay. Because like, there's one thing, like, I feel like when I really concentrate in the summer on my handle, like I get a good 2 weeks in, right? You know, I'll be doing my 1-on-0 moves and I'll be like, yeah, step back 3. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, it feels so easy. And then I get to like a pickup game and I'm like, I ain't doing this shit. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. So part of it is right to have the guts to go out there and put these dribble combinations. Mm-hmm. I got a long ways to go.
But you know the great
actually, hold on. Let me just. I'm gonna interrupt you for a second because it actually makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to hear you say that like you actually worked on your handle. Because Jamal used to say, I've never done a dribbling drill in my life, you know, and I'm just like, wow, that's so discouraging for me. That's so discouraging.
Oh man, yeah, but stuff like that though, you know, sometimes that comes natural though.
So the finishing though, like you and I can talk shooting, but like nobody cares. The finishing is the other superpower. Someone told me that whether it was your dad, maybe it was Phil, but like. You would work on basically the shots we see, the left-handed like lean-ins off glass, the going up on the right side, finishing on the other side with the left. You had one against us. I think it was
at home, underneath
with the right. Yeah, on a back cut where you started on the right side. You brought it, never actually touched the ball with your left hand. You brought it to the other side of your face with your right hand and spun it backwards off the glass. First of all, where was the development in that part of your game? And then secondly, like I know you still are tightening up your handle, so you still work on that actively. You're still working on your shooting, obviously actively. Mm-hmm. You're still doing that every day. Yeah. You're working on your finishes, your floaters, all that.
Yeah. My dad came home one day. I was in 8th grade, and he was still in like his dress clothes, coming from work, and it was like this random day where I still remember like it was yesterday. He came outside and he was like, Kyle, I want to show you some things. And he was still in his slacks and, his dress shoes. And I'm like, okay, Dad. He saw I was working on my game. And I'll tell you about that, by the way, too, in the foreshadowing. But my dad freaking never thought I was working on my game. He thought he would come home and I would run outside. Like when he came home, I was like, Dad, how selfish of you to think that I cared enough about you coming home to see me work out. And then like, fucking selfish of you to think that I cared about your judgment that much about me working on my game. But he came home and he was like, okay, Kyle, I want to show you some things. And he showed me this first layup and it was like, all right, go up, show it with your left, bring it down, scoop it. I was like, Dad, can you show me? And he's in his slacks. He was like, go up with your left, bring it down, and then finish with your right. And then go up with your right and finish with your left. And at the time,
how old are you at this time?
I was in 8th grade.
8th grade, okay.
I was in 8th grade. And at the time, I wasn't athletic enough to have hang time to execute the move the way I wanted to. So he told me, he was like, Kyle, when you get a little bit older, hang time develops a little, you become more athletic, a little bit taller, then this move will be effective. And from that point on, it was like I would be in my backyard, I would lower the rim, and I would, other than trying to dunk on my friends and play 21 or whatever, I would work on this show with the left, show with the right. And then I started working on going underneath the basket like Dr. J. Like when Dr. J took it and went underneath, and I was like, damn, I can't really grip the ball like him. So let me actually cup it and then work on it. And then let me be able to do it left. And then I started working on like, let me throw these high floaters up like that people won't expect off leg. And then I saw Steve Nash work out. And I was like, oh, Steve Nash is doing off leg. And I was like, damn, if a big's behind me and I could get it up there, if Steve Nash could do it, I'm like, I could do it too. And then I started working on Euros and then doing it. And then I started working on like being able to do it off pivots and off moves. And then it just started developing to a package. And then I just started curating that. culturing that.
Do you visualization? You say meditation. I don't know what you meditate about, but like before a game or before, let's say like a shoot around, after shoot around, whatever, you're getting ready to take your pregame. Do you take a pregame nap?
Yeah.
Okay. Before the pregame nap.
I'll meditate after the nap.
Are you visualizing these moves? Are you anticipating like, okay, I'm seeing myself come off of pick and roll, the big's in a drop, I need to create a little space, I'm going to use this
I used to.
Okay.
I used to before I really understood what meditation meant for me, but I used to really be visualizer at a very high level to where there were a lot of moves and I would envision going against guys and, working on that. And then I kind of figured out that the preparation behind it was a lot more detailed from my end that I wanted it to be, thinking about basketball as an art and being a creator and thinking about, the way an artist goes for stroke and they're creating something that's so beautiful, and that freedom to create is something that I envision. So that's what I'm thinking about when I'm going on the floor now. So I kind of just do it. Like, it's almost like when Michael Jackson used to just go out and just freestyle dance, and it's just like, oh, that was routine, and he's like, no, I just came up with that right now. Just like, yeah,
it's more beautiful that way. No, it is.
No, and that's something I appreciate that, but that's awesome because that's the way I think about it. I think of it as an art piece.
I think about my job as I'm a craftsman. Yeah. I'm a craftsman. I take pride in my work,
as you should.
And I'm not an artist and a creator in the same way that you are, but like that's there's a.
But you create individually though.
There's a poetic element to sport. There's an artistic element to sport, just beyond like looking at a box score and saying, "Oh, this guy shot this." Or, it's why people actually want to watch the sport. Yeah, is for the art. It's for the show. It's for the drama.
Which I've continued to learn about that appreciation and what it means to me, and then the appreciation for athletes like yourself, and then watching you shoot, and you catch it on the left wing, and some people don't realize that split second is like something that you've worked on for your whole entire life. And, you catch it on the wing, JJ, and you're just like, dude. And it's just like, I'm watching just the functional beauty of like your craftsmanship. You know what I mean? And all people do is see you shooting the ball, but yet a true appreciation of the sport and of what craftsmanship actually means to individuals and the amount of hours and sacrifice and commitment it takes to do something like that and make it look easy. And then you run down court and you fucking turn your back and you do your celebration. And after that, okay, all right, JJ, give it a break.
That's a layup. That's what I say. That's a layup. Okay, we're going to talk about your career move in a second. Let me just start by this. When we saw you in the preseason, it was like right before the game, or maybe it was warm up. I came up to you. I don't know if you remember what I said to you, but I was just like, man, dude, I appreciate so much what you did this summer. Like I called you a bad motherfucker. I said, you're a bad motherfucker.
I appreciate that.
And when I was doing the research on this episode, like I obviously read the Jackie McCullum piece in ESPN, and she had a quote. LeBron's name is in the quote, but she said, LeBron cornered the NBA notion that athletes should dictate their own destinies. Irving ripped that page out of James' book and implemented accordingly. I think more than anything, that's what I could appreciate, is taking that ownership over not just your career, but where you were in your career. I think for the vast majority of athletes, we're actually scared to do that because of the backlash that comes with that.
Oh, yeah.
I have to assume, and obviously, the timeline now that we all know, there was a trade rumor about you prior to your trade request. But once you made that request, you had to have known that at some point it was going to leak. That there wasn't going to be like, I make the trade request, I get traded the next day, and I don't have to deal with it. Like, I was at the NBPA all summer. They had NBA TV and ESPN all I heard was Kyrie talk all summer. And so you had to know there was going to be backlash. What was your mindset in anticipation of that? You have the meeting with Gilbert, and you're like, fuck. Yeah. There's angst, there's trepidation. Like, what's going on in your mind as you're getting ready to, and then getting that backlash?
Well, initially it was a sense of relief, to be able to take that step professionally, to go to your owner respectively and have a meeting like that, to be able to discuss things that would be beneficial for you. And of course, the backlash was going to come. I was unsure of when, but I didn't have any thoughts about whether it was going to leak or not. I went in there professionally and handled it because I felt like that was the best way to do it. I did it out of respect to the organization, what they've given to me. I felt like I took the necessary steps in order of preparing for that moment. And then once everything started unfolding, the more connected I knew I had to be with the people around me. Because usually as the nucleus, and I compare myself to the nucleus, and I have a very giant barrier of individuals that work on their own, but we have a connection, a bond for life. And I think you know what that means. It's just you have a bond that's unbreakable. And there's a loyalty, people call it loyalty, there's a love that's unwavering. And I had to prepare them more than I had to prepare myself for that because I knew what was going to come with all of this. And I knew the things that were going to be said. And we all knew the truth. And that was the beautiful thing about it, is that we all knew because I told everybody, like, this is what's going to happen. I know I'm unsure when it's going to happen, guys, but this is going to happen. And I don't want you guys to be responding out of spite, out of anger, out of anything that we don't represent as people. And I think that the thing that got missed out of all of it is just that in this business, I think some people lose their sense of like being a human being. You know what I mean? Like there actually is real life going on outside of this trade or the NBA or this moment. Like it was made to be the center of everything for a reaction and for emotional pull, for groups to get together and find hate or find something that was so false that they can ride with in order to get back or feel comfortable, you know, or feel confident. And I appreciate all the past players. I appreciate all the current players saying things, but in the back of my mind, and I came forth and said it as well, it just had nothing to do with them. Like I took part in this because I wanted to. I didn't do it for your acceptance. I didn't do it for you giving a point. I didn't do it for, you know, for anybody. Like, you know what I mean? I just.
Are you talking about one of the shows on ESPN there?
No, like meaning like I knew, and I had to. And the thing about it is, I had to
around the horn.
You know, I had to process all that, JJ. Like while all this was going on, and the way to react to it was just not saying anything until it was the right time, and I had to kind of still like everyone else. I had to read about it. I had to hear about it. And then I'm like, everyone kind of forgot that there was only one voice that actually mattered, and that was mine, you know, and that was taking control of what I wanted to take control of. And I know that that's why you said that. It's having that confidence to be able to look someone in the face and tell them the truth, like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. I really don't care what you think about it. Why would I care about what you do, what's best for you? Because isn't that what life is about?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You obviously weren't after mine or anyone else's acceptance. I can appreciate that so much because it does take, like honestly, it takes courage. Because based on perception, what you said is true. There's an element of athletes being perceived as robots.
Yeah.
And we've lost some humanity for whatever reason. And there's all the backlashes that come with it, of course, you know, whether that's your pay or you play a game or whatever it may be that people just immediately go to. It's like a, you know, it's just an immediate response. The other quote I loved, so I'm not going to ask you why you left because that's clear. I would encourage people. Jackie McCollum is an incredible writer. She wrote a great story on ESPN.
That's fair. Because I wanted to be done with it, and Jackie was like, "All right, I was like,
I think that was a great way to kind of finish.
All right, Jackie. I was like, all right, yeah. That's just okay, cool.
It was in good hands with her. But there was a quote Byron Scott had. He said something like, "You get bored, and that you need something new every 2 years." I'm not sure exactly what he meant by that, but it made me think of this. So like the whole article, I kept thinking, I keep going back to like this one question. The question is like, are you uncomfortable being comfortable? Because to me, even going back to high school in the Jackie M piece, like going back to high school, you could have been really comfortable at your smaller school and probably won some games in the Class B division in New Jersey. You know, Duke, you played 11 games. You could have been comfortable, came back for your sophomore year, maybe even played a whole season at Duke, you know? For all us Duke fans out there, we would have loved it. And then you're a world champion, Olympic gold medalist. It'd be really comfortable to just like continue to play for Cleveland.
Yeah.
But there was, to me, like there's this element of like, I'm not going to let anybody put me in a box. Like I need something new. I'm uncomfortable being comfortable, which is ironic because on the court, there's just this level of calm and comfort that you exude all the time.
Mm-hmm. I would say that, first off, shout out to Coach Scott. Love Coach Scott. That's my guy, man. This is my guy. It's my freaking guy, man. He gave me a chance when I was 19 years old to lead the Cleveland Cavaliers, man, and let me kind of mess up all the time and just come in and be free. But I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I get bored. It's just that the search of a challenge consistently, it gets tough in the league sometimes because of how stagnant it can become, meaning that the routine, meaning that the travel, meaning that like sometimes the season that you're having, you know, and then of course you throw the media in there and things that can consume you as a human being of so much false shit. I freaking lose it sometimes. And in like in the disconnect between basketball and real life, yet they're so connected, but they're so different at the same time. And when I feel like if you lose that essence, then you can get bored and you can come to work and be unhappy because we all know like there could be that one thing that someone says that you'll hold on to for 2 weeks and then you'll shoot like shit for like a week and a half. And then you come back to your base and you talk to your parents or you talk to someone that is an observer and they don't necessarily have the same insight, but they have an opinion that you value and they'll give you like, man, just go out there and play. You've been doing it your whole life. In that 1 second, that one moment, you take it like it's the best thing that you done heard your whole life. and it's just like from that point on, you're like, okay, I can do this. I can succeed at this. I can actually play and do my thing. And it's not about getting bored. It's just about the consistent challenge and being able to know that the trust in you and the belief in your talents is always there.
I think it's easier to play when you're excited.
Oh, 100%.
I was in LA for 4 years and it was basically the same group of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have an issue with anyone on the team. I don't have an issue with anyone in the front office. I don't have an issue with anyone on the coaching staff. But for whatever reason, the team felt stagnant. It felt stale. And I think for a lot of us that were there for all 4 of those years, I mean, some of those guys like CP, Blake, DJ, Jamal was there 5. Those 3 were there 6 years. Like you almost just need something new.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's not boredom. It's not boredom.
Mm-mm.
It's just like, it's like that feeling of staleness or stagnation. And like, I need a refreshment. I need to and that's, LA didn't want me back. I'm gonna be honest with you, LA didn't want me back. But like for me, I was like looking at Philly and I was like, I could get rejuvenated there.
Mm-hmm.
I could regain like the excitement and the love that I have for playing. And that was a huge factor for me. So in very different ways, but I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you end up getting traded to Boston,
mm-hmm.
which has been great for you, obviously. I want to talk to you about Brad though.
Yeah.
And like I'm an NBA Twitter guy. Okay. So I'm on NBA Twitter. And I'm an NBA fan. I watch League Pass every night. And consistently, it's like when people talk about like the top coaches in the league, Brad's name gets brought up. You guys lose Gordon Hayward like minutes into the season.
Yeah. Shout out to Gordon, man.
You have to be at least somewhat surprised. I think after tonight you're 34-10.
Yeah.
So you have to be somewhat surprised by that. And this is your first year playing for Brad. But like what is it that makes him so great? Because like everybody, like for a couple of years, it was like, oh, Brad runs great ATOs after timeout plays.
Yeah.
Like he's got great ATOs,
Yeah.
Great set pieces. Is it end game stuff? Is it discipline? Is it what is it?
He brings the ultimate unwavering confidence, yet so chill, but assertive, demanding, but he does it in the just most unique way. And it's like almost bringing college to the NBA. Like I feel like we're a very professional team, but the way we run things and the way we demand excellence out of each other is something like being on a college team. Just our film study, our preparation, our walkthroughs, our shoot-arounds. He is adjusted to the NBA life, but yet he still remains and has the high character integrity of being that up-and-coming college coach that he was. And he was great in college. And then he made the transition into the league. He didn't necessarily have the best of teams, but he demanded excellence out of them. And he was always unwavering. He was always chill. And he demands it out of you. I keep saying demands, but he like...
But just does it in a different way.
Yeah. So you want to do it. You want to play for him. So you want to do it.
Does he... It sounds like he has almost like a unique personality. Like, is there a coach that you've had that you could compare him to personality-wise? No.
Not anybody. No. He's Brad Stevens. and when you're doing that, that means that you've done something like special. And he has yet to be on the plateau of a championship winner, but he's definitely on his way. Internally, with your teammates, are you guys, when you guys talk about your season, like are you at all shocked that you're in this position that you're in? Because we played you all our second game this season, your third game this season. Mm-hmm. The body language was different then than it is now. We gave y'all one that game, by the way. Yeah, no, you did.
Yeah, you did. But like y'all almost seemed down. You weren't defeated, but you were down.
I got fined after that game, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's right. You cussed somebody out, right? But even like tonight, like we get up 20 or whatever, 21, whatever we were up in the second quarter, like you guys just have like, there's a swagger to it. Mm-hmm. So there's no surprise, or there is surprise?
I feel like the value of what each individual brings to the table talent-wise, as well as the little things that we all value in order to be on a great team, not a good team. We want to be a great team. And when we get into situations like that, we all understand that this game could change in an instant, and we control that. And Brad's done a great job of preparing us. Now it's our job to go out and execute. We may have not been shooting well defensively. We were all over the place. You got going. You had 7 points in the first 2 minutes. Brad doesn't call timeout. He calls timeout after JB loses you again, and it's 9-2. And then you guys go on this unbelievable run, and Brad's in there, and he's just, all right, guys, like, it's what we're going to do. And you sit back and you listen, and you trust the lineup that he has out there, executing at a high level. If we do it possession by possession and we actually control the things that we control, then we'll feel like we'll put ourselves in a great position. And that's how we feel.
And you're doing that on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
It almost, in a way, obviously different styles, but you guys play like the Warriors. Because from the games I've watched you guys and having played against you and had 2 big leads against you that we lost, it doesn't matter what the score is. You guys are going to play a certain way. Mm-hmm. And you're going to trust that way of playing on both sides of the ball. And
because it'll work.
And that's what I'm saying. There's a belief. Work. There's like an inherent belief that eventually the tide will turn, and you guys will have a 38-point third quarter. Like you did tonight.
Oh man.
All right. You know what? It's 1 a.m. local time here in London. We played. I'm going to let you go hang out.
Go hang out where?
Dude, I don't know, man. There's stuff going on. It's London on a Thursday night. Now, do what you need to do. You have been the worthiest of podcast guests. I appreciate you.
It's a very worthy podcast.
That's it for the show this week. We'll be back next Thursday with one of my favorite soccer players, Thierry Henry. Until then, if you enjoyed the show, give us a rating and review over at Apple Podcasts.